classic Raisin Bran as a kid? Like, hell no. No
Do you
way.
remember
Give me
Raisin
the...
Nut Crunch?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a
Rice
crunch
Krispies.
Oh,
Hey, guys.
Oh my!
Oh, my goodness. Get your bowl of cereal and sidle up to the bar. Today, we're going to talk about... sorry, my goddamn volume is on. We're going to talk about fighting in TTRPGs and how it's a slog. Roll it, AK.
Kenny!
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Before we even do one more thing, don't think about it. Favorite cereal of all time. Brother says Raisin Bran.
Oh.
Allison says.
I can't choose just one, but if I have to, Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Okay, great. Fitz says.
Honey Nut Cheerios.
Honey Nut Cheerios is a classic. I'm going to go Rice Krispies with about 12 scoops of sugar on top. Hey, guys.
Did you put honey on it?
Or Rice Krispies
Honey on Rice
with
Krispie
a butt
treats.
ton of blueberries.
I do it now. No. When I was a kid, as fruit? No way. Sugar only, please.
Okay,
Because you got to get those sugar granules. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Pocket Dimension Live. I'm Evan.
I'm Fitz.
Matt!
Allison.
Yay! And like we said, we're going to talk about fighting today. We're going to fight about fighting.
We're going to physically fight.
And, you know, we're going to just talk about the ever-present slog that can be combat. Can be. Doesn't have to be.
Is.
And specifically 5e, really. I mean,
specifically the 5e rules. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how it is. You're fighting some baddies, and meanwhile, when it's not your turn, you're stone cold checking your Instagram, waiting for something to happen. Next thing you know, 15 minutes have gone by, and you don't remember what anyone's done, and you don't know that it's your turn.
If it was last night, Fitz and I definitely played from 8 to 11, and I was definitely watching the DNC.
Oh
yeah.
I was upfront
Fighting
about it,
the
though.
good fight.
The party knew that I was like standing in the doorway of my office in my bedroom.
Okay.
Like,
You were representing
listening.
for a different kind of party.
I
What?
was.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Fitz, there's some notes in the comments about you are quiet.
Oh,
Yes, I
crank
saw
it.
that and I boosted
Really?
myself. So let me know
Boost
if I'm blowing
it.
your ears out now.
Y'all, our BFF Jason is back.
Jason!
Jason, before you do anything else, what's your favorite cereal?
Gotta know.
Gotta know. And
You
there's
know
no
what?
wrong answer.
Hold on. Mr. Mike says grape nuts is
Oh.
his favorite, and I loved grape nuts. I feel like
In
I'm the only other
yogurt.
person in the universe. Okay.
You got to eat them
Never in
fast,
milk,
though.
only in
You do
yogurt.
have to eat them fast, yeah.
Right. If you do use milk, which I probably preferred, it turns to cement, grape cement,
Right.
rather quickly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are they called grape nuts? What the hell
I've
are
always
they?
wanted the same thing.
Yeah, let's not think about that.
I always thought they were like the seeds of grapes or something. Probably not. Honey Nut Cheerios,
nuts.
classic choice, Jason. Yeah,
KVH,
everyone. I mean,
Pops.
show me a person who doesn't like Honey Nut Cheerios, and I'll show you a commie.
There you go. You know what? I'm also
What?
realizing something. It may be partially the taste, but also partially because a bee marketed it towards me. So,
Whoa!
Naturally.
Yeah, that's true.
Whoa. This.
Oh,
Wow.
With
Whoa.
chocolate milk?
That is
that
that's a flavor
is-
profile.
That is something.
Taste sensations.
I would
Wow.
try that. I would.
Okay. What's
I've
stopping
been
you?
singing the honeycomb. This all started because,
Yeah. Our fast
said
has turned
honey
into
smacks,
the
and I
topic
wondered-
of today.
yeah, has
Mm-hmm.
I wondered if honey smacks are even still a thing. Quick Google, yes, they are.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes, they are.
It's fun, it's funny how like legacy brands like that were around before we were kids probably are
Mhm.
still here. They're still here. It's kind of amazing. Congrats, you guys. Good work
And-
for sticking
Good
around.
work.
Also, Leap and Lemurs and Magic Spoon for the new
Leap and-
kids.
Magic Spoon with a protein packed stuff. Yeah. Protein. It's good for you because it's got protein in it.
The poor people who showed up to talk about combat and are hearing about cereal.
Yeah, and
I
Tales of the
know.
Valiant.
They're talking about the
We're
fight in
carving
my
up the
mouth
fight.
with cereal.
Yeah,
Oh.
we need to carbo load, right? Exactly, before we
Mm-hmm.
punch him out.
Real quick anecdote.
Yeah.
There were studies done about like major brand cereals done with rats. Rats would eat the cardboard box before they would eat the cereal. That's how nutritious these cereals are.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Rats.
Okay,
You
moving
okay over there, Maddie?
moving on. Yeah, we
We
all still
Oh my
feel
God.
like rats.
You killed Matt.
You killed me for a sec.
Well, let's roll
delicious.
some death saves.
Yeah, let's
on
roll
this
some death
combat
saves.
discussion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So,
Love it.
Matt, you had a question for the audience that you've already typed in the chat, but ask
I
it
did.
out loud.
I'm going to ask it out loud. So the topic of today is 5e combat, and then Tales of the Valiant, and whether Tales of the Valiant makes the 5e combat any faster or even slower. I know that it was a little bit of a clickbaity thing, but upon researching this, I don't know whether it necessarily makes it. I'm just going to go ahead and TDLR the whole thing.
Hi, everybody.
TLDR, the whole thing, and just say, well, we don't actually know, but there are ways that it could. And so the question is, how do y'all in the chats, how do you speed up combat? If you do, if you feel like you need to. I do. I'm a dungeon master that is always trying to optimize combat because my actual because I have ADHD, my actual feelings get hurt when I see Allison watching the DNC instead of being razor focused on the game. And that's my fault. That's not her fault. But I do know that there's one thing that if there's things that I could do to make everybody more engaged, a la a game of Daggerheart, a game of DC 20. We're going to try out the new Nimble 5e very, very soon.
Damn.
Exactly, Blake Brown.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well,
Funny enough,
brother,
I'm
I
sorry.
think you've brought up an interesting point, and let's start before we even dive into systems.
Okay.
Let's start here. You said something that was interesting, which was that you feel bad. You
do.
take it personally when you see people disengaging. But
Yeah.
I think before we even get to the system, let's identify some things that are extra system that contribute to combat feeling like a slog.
Sure.
It don't have anything to do with 5e or Tales of the Valiant.
Okay.
So I'd say number one, there's being in front of a screen. It's different when you're in person, right?
Slightly. Depends.
I mean,
on
I'm not saying
how
it's
much-
still not a slog,
right.
but when you're sitting in front of a screen, you have access to Google, whatever. You have far many more distractions in front of you.
Sure.
Right.
Yes,
You're
it's
also
more
disconnected from people
possible.
physically. So that is one component.
Mhm.
What are some other things? It was just on the tip of my tongue. Some other stuff is, and this is kind of my soapbox.
Yeah.
Not everyone wants to play TTRPGs the same way. Not everyone is into roleplay. Not everyone likes the same flavor
Right.
of game. So this is an interesting question for you guys out there who may just you only like combat, right? And you're just there for that. We have differing opinions within this group. I will say groups like Dimension 20, Critical Role, whatever, who are performing, it's not just playing a game, it's performing a game.
Yeah.
That they typically, not always, typically make combat more interesting to watch fully as a spectator, let alone participate in, because it's being performed, right? They're trying to make it as exciting, talking about whatever, just giving the energy, which I oftentimes find in my home game that it totally depends on my energy level of the day
Yeah.
and how amped I am for the game. If I'm just low energy, I'm just, I rolled a 17, whatever.
For
So there's the point is it's what energy you put into it, you're going to get back from it, right? It's just like,
Sure.
and that's the true for, kind of anything on stage, right? Music, theater, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's a component.
Mm-hmm.
But that is going to vary wildly depending on, not everyone wants to perform in their home game. In
Sure.
fact, even people who are into performing don't always want to do that.
Right.
So So what else? What are some other things that don't have to do with system that kind of can drag down combat?
I mean, those are so big, but it does. You do start to dip into rule sets, at least styles of rules, and I think it's fair to say, without again picking on a certain system, there are crunchier, more tactical combat rules, and there are more freeform, less mechanical combat rules.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I guess for
do
some,
think that,
sorry.
yeah, I think that is most definitely something that needs to be talked about, because what it does is there are some games that are super good at trying to engage everyone at the table. Like, it's kind of a necessary part of the mechanic. And there are some that it is more asynchronous. It's just more asynchronous.
Can I just say that for me, learning that combat was a slog for y'all was a glass shattering moment for me.
Right.
I'm curious if there's anybody watching this right now or in playback later who is like, oh my God, you're right. But like, until Matt started, kind of trying to homebrew our combat, which is what led us to exploring all these different systems, kind of starting with DC-20, I didn't know it was a slog. I was having the time of my life. And now that it's, now, and I don't say that to throw shade, like now that I'm aware, I'm like, I mean, but so I'm going to give a really personal example of last night. So Fitz and I are in a campaign set in Exandria, GM'd by the amazing Bladebound Saga. And last night we spent the entire session on combat. Mm-hmm. And I didn't mind, like, even though I've already admitted that I was, like I said, I was up front at the beginning of the game that I was going to be kind of watching some of the DNC. But even though it was the entire session, I wasn't upset by it, because it was this, we're getting to the completion of an arc. We knew this was going to be kind of like the big boss battle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I was aware of it. And it's one of those things that, like, even though I'm not bothered by something, being aware of it does kind of like, and I sat there thinking through, and by the way, I'm playing with fantastic players. Every single person in that game is what I would call an expert level. We don't have any just total newbies. They've all been playing for years. In fact, I think I'm the newest one to TTRPGs. And we've been playing these characters long enough that we have a feel for our character sheets. We're fairly low level. So, it's not like we're tripping over 8th level spells and a million spell slots, any of those things. And even with all of that, it still took 4 hours for us to not even I don't think we got halfway through. Mm-hmm. Wow. And that was with us doing some kind of speedy things to get into, like, to kind of race through some of the barricades that Rice had set up for us in the first place.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I don't know.
Of course.
I don't know what point I'm trying to make right now.
No, I hear you. For sure. It may not be a problem at your table, and I don't know exactly why it is for me. I think it's because I don't enjoy the tactics as much, but I also am not as excited about. I do need mechanics, so I need to have a nice mix of these things.
AK, you made an interesting point, which I think is worth delineating. Sorry, brother, to jump in before I forget. It's not the length of, for me, and I think for you, it's not the length of time that combat lasts. It's the energy, the sustained, is the pace of it while it's happening, right?
Yes.
It can be 4 hours long, but if it's rocking and fun and it's popping, then you're having a blast. But it's when it's like, oh, and we were turn, or you hit like that one person in your group, like it just comes to the Ashley Johnson in your group, and just comes to a screeching halt. Look, American treasure. I love Ashley Johnson.
American treasure,
but
Ashley Johnson.
Homegirl has been playing D&D for years now, and still, it's like, what can I do? What do I roll?
Am I the Ashley Johnson of our group? There's another glass shattering moment.
I'm not saying that at all.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying that everyone has had that experience in a D&D game where, like, the round comes around and you're going, we're back here, and it just comes to a screeching halt.
And that definitely was not happening last night. Everybody was like ready on their turn. We were doing interesting and fun things. I think though the collaborate, like I will say, and so first of all, and I know Matt was not meaning this as like a personal attack on me.
No.
There is never anything that I am doing that I am solely focused on one thing. If I am watching TV, I am playing on my phone. Like if I am cooking, I am also texting somebody. Like there's no one thing that I do that's a singular point of focus. And I think the people who play with me have to know that just out of the gate.
Yes. Can let's do a little safe room accessibility thing.
Yeah.
I know that about Allison, and therefore it does not bother me. It does bother me because of my brain, but I know that about her, so I can disassociate that, and I can say, "Oh, but she's paying attention. I know she is because she has ADHD, as I do, and it's manifesting in this way."
Yeah.
It bothers me for my own specific reasons. So yes, let's definitely say that out loud. And
saying that
I get it and mean it. Yeah.
But I will say this. So like. I think it was Matt made the point a little while ago about the systems where collaboration is key. I do tend to so first of all, if I'm looking away from the screen, I need something dynamic going on in front of me in order for me to be paying attention audibly, because I'm not an audible processor, right? So a lot of times I am playing like a mindless game or like coloring something or doing something like that so I can listen better. That said,
that is true. That's real.
I am like in a game like I'll use Daggerheart, which I also played Bound Saga, and we've just played a really great combat session as well last Saturday. I will say this, that last night I tend to kind of zone out until it was my turn. I was aware of what was going on in the game. I was listening to what y'all were doing, but I wasn't trying to like formulate my next move quite as much because I knew that, we're all kind of acting in silos in 5e. Whereas like when we played Daggerheart on Saturday, I was listening more to what each individual player was doing, because I know that Daggerheart is going to give me the option to either choose to tag team with somebody else, or somebody might call on me for a tag team. So there's an example of a system kind of naturally lending itself to like more attention. In the in-between. So I don't know. I know I was the one that was like, we need to be talking about Tales of the Valiant, and I'm already tiptoeing us off the Tales of the Valiant path.
Well, system agnostic for me. I am sort of a mixed bag between all of y'all, I think. Like, speaking to what I think Jason said about the first optimized option, if the player's doing the same thing more than 2 rounds in a row, the combat gets boring. That I tend to find that happens particularly in lower level games. And like, so last night the game was great, but as a level 4 monk, I spent more than half of my turns just running.
You were running.
Because we were trying to get to another location. So I just ran, investigate, investigate, Cobalt Soul Milk. So like that wasn't super interesting for me, except for the couple of times I got cool nuggets of information. But like 90% of my combat for 4 hours was just running, which isn't fun. But take a level 12 monk or something that has a ton of key points, a whole lot of options, that has flavor, give them a tactical map with combatants who move around. Now you've got my attention.
Yeah.
So there are times when I really love a tactical combat, usually at slightly higher levels, but acknowledging that each person's turn, once you get above like level 10, it's gonna take a while, but I still find that fun, as long as it's not like just a meat bag of hit points that we're trying to hit. If there's an end goal, if there's some sort of campaign arc ending battle or something, and everybody has a job, even if they are working in a silo, if you're checking out for the other people's turns, but then we get to yours, and every single thing that you do is super important. Like, you have to stun this creature so that the person behind you is going to go up and hit Divine Smite. Well, this person does, like, as long as everybody has a job and is really using their full bag of tricks on their character sheet, I find that kind of combat really fun. I hate playing combat below like level 5, because you hit them once and then you're you're done, and then round 2 you do it again. So that kind of combat I don't enjoy. If you're playing lower level, it's like do it around, make it a round or 2, and then move on.
At the same time, though, the higher levels have 10 times the options, and I watch players try to figure out what to do because there's so many more feats, spells. Who said, somebody mentioned this, in fact, in the chat, that I think it takes longer a lot of. Well,
yeah, it does.
We're not talking about longer. Yeah, we're not talking about
higher
longer.
levels. Yeah. Each individual turn takes longer.
Yeah,
but doesn't feel like a slog.
But it feels more effective.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. It's the slogginess. So with all of that, and there was a great discussion going on. And we're kind of like crossing into a couple different things. There was a great discussion going on in our TTRPG channel in Discord this week about specifically like neurospicy character sheet, like making a character, those of us who prefer casters versus marshals and why. So we don't have to get into all of that. But to your point, Matt, like it's almost like if you know that combat can be a slog, choosing the thing that you're a specialist at. More or less, so it's like I know even though at a higher level I have so much more to choose from, but like I'm just gonna always choose whatever is gonna give my party the biggest buff, which is what Fitz tends to do in our Barovia game. I'm always gonna choose the biggest like area of effect.
If I could say one more thing, I also want to clarify that not only is this a personal thing for me, I think it's also a personal thing when I'm a game master. Right? Because I don't have quite the same joy of seeing my characters being my characters as real people, right? Not real people, but you know what I'm saying. Like I am not as invested in the dragon that is trying to kill the 4 of you, right? So for me, it gets sloggy because I'm trying to challenge you, but in trying to challenge you, I have so much to calculate. And so I'm rolling things or I'm trying to do things. So a lot of stuff on my how to make things a little bit more fun and better really focus on game masters too. It's like how to speed up my side of things. So
well, and let's be very clear here. I think there's a difference between length of time and slog. Because
I agree.
We're sort of in some ways equating the two. And my argument is that you can have a very short combat that was sloggy, or you can have an extremely 4-hour combat.
DT is saying the same thing very well.
That is exciting and not sloggy.
Yeah.
Let me try to reframe something for you that you just said, Matt. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but you just said, you don't have the same investment in the dragon that you're putting out in front of your characters, the way that the characters feel like we feel really inhabited and lived in our...
Yeah.
But what if you consider that the dragon is... You don't give a shit about the dragon. You give a shit about the characters and the challenge that they're facing and the hurdles that they have to overcome. So that maybe reframing it to find the joy in the challenge of like, what can I throw at them to make them stronger, or to like toss in a monkey wrench and make conflict, like trying to entice the angsty boy towards a powerful weapon that you have to make a pact for, or you know, and that makes the rest of the party go like, hey man, maybe don't do that. Like, how can you toss in conflict to keep yourself interested, even if you don't actually care about the monster?
1000%. And I think that is my still one of my biggest struggles as a DM, that to find that balance of being able to because I don't have a tactical mind, but usually I'm dancing with 4 or 5 partners just on my own that I have to keep track of, and I want to challenge you, and I can lose the scope. I can lose that thing, that exactly what you're talking about. I can lose that connection unless work is done, right? And I will get there, but it is when you see the masters like Mercer and Brennan do and Abria do it, it can be done, but it is, I mean, they're the masters. So
okay, so
sorry, Evan.
Two points. Number one, would you care more when it's a boss fight? Like if it's Strahd, you as the GM, you know a lot more about Strahd's motives, what he wants. That like when that fight goes down, you're going to care a little bit more. You're not going to care about a fight with some, gnolls, right? Like
I am actively nervous about that fight. I have been nervous about it for months.
So that will be engaging for you in a way. So that's my first question. And this is a question maybe more for y'all out there. Because we've never done this, and I want to do this. I don't know how, but do any of you out there actually get together with your party and talk about tactics, battle tactics with your group? Like say, okay, you're good at this, you're good at this, like you would, like you'd have like football plays, right? Like, okay, what are we fighting? And we know like these certain plays are going to work against certain kinds of enemies. And you make the call, and how am I doing? Okay. And then the QB snaps the ball, and I don't know. That's the end of my knowledge.
You're doing great.
Okay. So we've never done that. Has anyone else here in this room done that with other groups?
I have done
Vince and I do that.
Well, why are you leaving me on the cold, you jerks?
Do we do it? We don't really do it in our Barovia game. So it usually is involved with myself or Matt Williams with spell stuff or just double checking what Chimerical has with spells. But in our old Thursday night game with our dear Alejandro Tay, a lot of times before a big fight, Tay would even say like, hey man, you guys would have some time to discuss what you're gonna do if you want to figure out some stuff. And like that group, we had our own Discord channel without Tay.
That's cool.
Okay, so follow-up question. Yeah. So beyond just like saying which spells do you take and stuff, would you also discuss like, okay, if there is a high ground, then my character will go here, or I'm going to go in and I'll use Willem. I'm a monk. I'm going to go in, and as soon as I stun this person, you guys know to pile on, and you come up with all these plays. Because in our group, we've never done this, and it never happens. Like so, when I do that, I go and I stun someone. Everyone's off doing their own thing. Like nobody piles on the guy. We don't have tactics. So, yes. So you guys out there, where do you stand on this? And AK and Fitz, right I'll just ask you again, why don't you care about me enough to
maybe I have my own tactical play that Ash uses, and I do include you in on it.
Well, you haven't said it with your words, and I don't read minds, so it hasn't happened.
I mean, just to be honest, like sometimes it is a timing thing. Like if a couple of us are typing in the chat and we don't hear back, we just like take it to the side and start making plans. So that's been what's happened in the past. It's never been like we're going to get together and exclude party members. It's just been like I'm here, you're here, let's talk about this.
Yeah, and to be fair, at least in the times that we have discussed pre-game tactics, like in the Tay group, anytime you plan like that, you got to have 6 contingencies, or at least get a general idea of what people's goals are in the combat, and then you have to know that shit's going to hit the fan immediately because Tay's going to pull out something.
Well, that's kind of what I mean, though. It's like you have a bunch of plays that you could run that you can improvise with, because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. I would be so interested. I would be so into this.
Look, we're gonna.
I would be so into this.
Before Strahd.
We'll chat.
We got you.
AK, I'm not sweating. I think this would be amazing. Like, I think it would, if it was a bringing y'all's A game, it would bring mine too. It just, I think it would, the whole thing would be like, whoa, you guys are like, you know, the X-Men. There's the fastballs shuffle, whatever it's called. You know, I would be super into it every time.
Yeah.
And then I would have to go, oh, dang, I got to pull out some stops. I got to pull out some doom points, which is a mechanic in Tales of the Valiant.
Yeah, bring it back to Tales.
Let's bring it back to TOV. So, to in response to your earlier your leading statement / question, how does Tales of the Valiant kind of help speed up the slog? You know, it is obviously super similar to 5e, but it at least has the 2014. But it has mechanisms that 2014 doesn't have that can help, like Doom, like luck.
Yup. Yeah. Right. I can just give you a rundown of so I created this 5 list because we put it in the thumbnail, and I put it down. I was like, wow, this could either make things faster or much slower. But I think the biggest difference is not just in combat, but Tales of the Valiant in general, which we kind of went over last week, are the luck system, which allows PCs to then re-roll things, possibly, certainly strike harder in subsequent turns. You know, they have to kind of do that, but that could possibly speed some things up. On the other side of that are the doom points that the game master gets based on the monster, and used in a very similar way to re-roll dice or to add advantage or certain things. There are talents, which are feats, and they're available at first level. So this makes the players a little bit stronger, I think, which could possibly, to Fitz's point, make things a little more interesting and therefore engaging and less sloggy. I would say that on the DM side, the monster vault is just so clean and clear and accessible in like a, you know, just a focused way. I think that seems to, when I've pulled out that you know, a zombie from the monster vault recently, I'm like, wow, that's adding some really fun things. So similarly to the talent / feats, you get new things in TOV. And then finally, of course, the big one, somebody mentioned it. Sorry, I forgot who mentioned it. But for sure. Oh, I know who it was. It was Jarl Javi. Weapon options. And what I love about the weapon options is the difference, and we said it this last week, but it's still cool. In 2024 D&D, you get weapon options, but it's both damage and the option. I love in Tales of the Valiant that it's either or, for the most part. Every class has a way to do both damage and the option. There aren't 50 billion of them. There are like some really strong ones that are super cool, like pinning someone or hamstringing someone or knocking people down. And so you get to choose. And I think in the way that a monk would use stun, Biv, you could get into, you could work with your party to say, okay, when I use this weapon option, this means pile on. And I think it adds kind of a fun thing. Does that make it faster? No, but it definitely could make it far less sloggy, I think.
Yeah. And well, it adds the perception, I think, to the player that they get to do something different. Yeah. Speaking to what Fitz was saying about, you know, you're not just doing the same thing on a bag of hit points of like, okay, I'm going to attack again. You have at least some other options where you get to, in a very simple way to apply, do some tactical things. Yeah. And it was super fun when I was playing this past weekend. I tried it out. I did the pinning thing, and it was totally at the wrong moment where like the fight was over. I was like, I'm going to pin that person. And then it's like, oh, never mind. But it was still fun to do. Yeah.
Can you? Because now that you have played Tales of the Valiant, can we take a pause to kind of hear your takeaways from TOV, Evan?
Yeah.
Put you on the spot here.
I mean, I think I got this analogy from somebody else, or at least something like it. It's like your 5e cozy sweater without all of the ketchup stains on it. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
But it's
it means you eat a lot of ketchup.
I love ketchup.
I know, me too.
And mayonnaise, mustard. I like all the condiments. Tartar sauce, sure.
Aioli.
Salsa, aioli, why not? Without all the aioli stains, of course.
Right. Yes.
Never get those out.
I thought it was fantastic. It was wonderful to play with Kai, and everyone there he was playing was awesome. It was mostly combat the whole time, which was interesting. And for that, I would say that it actually kind of moved pretty quick. There wasn't really a need for a whole lot of story, because we were just kind of go. And we went over a little bit, but it didn't feel like, it actually didn't feel like a slog. So, it was everything that you love about the game that we have all, love it or hate it, that we've all cut our teeth on, without any of the guilt or bad feelings.
It's the light yogurt of
right. The Activia, without the sugar-free Activia of 5e.
But sweetened with monk fruit instead of artificial sweetener.
Exactly.
Right.
No gut punch.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
I would happily replace all of our 5e games with Tales of the Valiant.
Happily,
easily. No questions asked.
And I will
although
say that
includes the only one weird thing that I think is not a rule yet. You can just homebrew. I like flanking. I like flanking rules. Apparently it wasn't a thing in our game. So bring flanking back, and that's my one gripe.
Yeah. I will say that in researching for today, I took a look at the level up advanced 5e as well, which is, seen to be, if this is 5e and this is Tales of the Valiant, which is basically the same level of crunchiness, you've got advanced 5. It thinks I'm doing hearts. It's got, wow, it's so cute. So cute. It's got advanced 5e. I think it's not as far as Pathfinder crunchy, but it is like a level crunchier, and it has some really, really, really fun things too. But as far as like just ease of grasping things, I think Tales wins personally. And yeah, it would be a much easier port, if we wanted to start Barovia this Monday and port it to Tales of the Valiant. No problem. I don't think it'd be any problem.
The thing that I saw multiple people say this earlier in the chat. The thing that any 5e based game is really missing is the collaboration part. Is the thing that makes Daggerheart so kick ass, and DC20 has some mechanics around that too. DC20 obviously being far more crunchy, but if there was, whether it's homebrewed or if there's another system out there that you can kind of apply that to, that would kind of make it flawless. Because that's the thing, right? That we all still want, is the ability to just go out of turn. Go, wait, let me help.
Yeah. Yes.
Just to keep you engaged, because that's the thing. That's therein lies the slog, is when you disengage.
But they're in there too. That's the other thing. Is like if our mentor Tay was here with us, he'd say, guys, there are rules. They may be in the Dungeon Master's Guide, and they may be alternate rules, but there are rules that have different attributes. There's sanity attribute, and they have the help actions, and they have all these different things, which is why
I would read the Dungeon Master's Guide. Are you kidding?
But
why would I do that? That's for Dungeon Masters.
And that's why I want to put this losers,
dorks.
This is why I want Why is it working so well for me today? But yeah, there are rules in there. That's the thing about 5e that is so amazing and hard and heartbreaking and difficult and fun, is because they really have balanced that game. You may have to figure things out and poke, but a lot of it is how we've learned to play. A lot of it is how we go about playing, and then little things that we could do to literally speed stuff up without homebrewing. But it's all in there, and so that's the tough part. I mean, I don't think there has been a game that has been play tested more than Dungeons and Dragons. I don't think that's chronically possible. It is chronologically possible,
or chronically
possible. Either one.
Okay.
Hello.
Thanks, Fitz.
Light it up and take a puff. Pass it to me now.
So, what I'm learning here is that Daggerheart is Cheerwine, and that
Yes, I will take that.
And that 5e is New Coke. And
okay.
What were
Do y'all
people
remember?
saying?
Would TOV be New Coke?
No,
because we like TOV. Nobody likes New Coke.
So
TOV would be RC.
is McDonald's Coke.
Oh. Okay. All right.
And
Does anybody
Daggerheart
remember?
is Cheerwine from the glass.
And D&D 2024 is C2. Anybody remember that?
No.
Oh, I remember.
C2 was like halfway between Coke Zero and Coke, so it had like half the calories. So it was part sugar. It was Ace.
Right.
I worked for Coke when this came out.
It had a green label.
Nope, it was still red, but it was more red and black, and we literally couldn't give it away. Like, it was my job to be out sampling it, and we would like load like pallets into the back of people's cars because we would have like a certain amount we had to sample over the course of a weekend, and people would be like, "I'm good." And
Did
like,
you try?
Of course.
Was it good?
I mean, it tasted more like Coke Zero than Coke. Yeah. So then why wouldn't you just drink Coke Zero? Like, why would you drink something that still had sugar and calories? Wow, we really... It was not good, anyways. Derailed that.
Okay, so let me put...
But TOV being the McDonald's Coke, I will absolutely sign off on that.
Because here's the thing. It's Tales of the Valiant is mapped onto 5e, so it's going to, if you're not careful, it can suffer from the same problems. If you don't like Coke at all, you're probably not going to like the McDonald's Coke. So, like, maybe Tales of the Valiant is
Dr. Pepper only here.
Yeah, if you're only a Dr. Pepper kind of dude, you're not gonna like Tales of the Valiant because it's still mapped onto 5e, but it just has the sparkle of giving you some added things like Doom and Luck. No Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew is the Vampire the Masquerade of TTRPGs. It's so...
No, Mountain Dew is what's the system that the Goblin game is on? Whatever, it doesn't matter. I got totally distracted. But Tales of the Valiant, even at lower levels, you have your feats.
Yeah.
Feats. You have feats, not feats. And then
there are actually talents.
Monsters
You don't even have to
cleaner
mess with them.
With just like more functionality, with maybe some Doom in there. So like, it's not going to speed it up, but it may reduce slog.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I was chatting with Kai. Just let the mic drop. Just total silence.
You know, I can admit, maybe I'm just talking shit. You have nothing to say. I'm just talking out my butt.
I'm literally now because Seth asked what's ginger ale, and I love ginger ale, but I don't always want ginger ale. So like, what's the, is it, like, is it like Fiasco? Like, is it something that like I have to be in like a very specific mood? Mall Madness.
What's a game that makes my stomach hurt? That's what the ginger ale is.
We're doing this, guys. We're taking this. We're gonna create a sub thread about this. This is real. This is
and the next topic will be which kind of soda do you like to put into your cereal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Wait a minute. What?
Anyway.
Anyway.
I'm just trying to bring us all full circle here.
Mountain
so I do have
some Reese Puffs.
No. Turning.
Uh-oh.
There it is. Our St. Cold and some moon pie, which is a delightful conversation. Okay.
Throw the mic out the window.
You know that two of us have ADHD, y'all. Okay, I did come up with a small list of things that we could all do if you're feeling this log and you're like, oh my gosh, these are not new things to the internet. Some of them I have never tried, but I think they would absolutely apply to any of the versions of 5e. Really, probably any game. We've already talked about being prepared. I love the PC getting together, designing, combat moves.
Plays.
That's just
having plays. Man. I want that.
Fitz and I had a book of plays for a campaign that went nowhere, sadly, after our Exandria.
We did.
Our characters were besties, and we came up with some really good ones.
We don't get to play them very often, but
did you give them cool names?
Yeah,
they did. They had really good names.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like,
you got to
give.
I don't. It was so because it was like 2022, but yeah,
they were all bee based.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was a ranger beekeeper.
Dang it. I'm gonna say it and then not be able to back myself up. But in the Dungeon Master's Guide number 2, there are alternate initiative methods. I called our friend Kai. Introduced us to the con method, which was super cool. We talked about that, where it's just round robin in a circle.
And Dan Freeman had a comment earlier about in person. It just goes counterclockwise based on just to not bring everything to a screeching halt when you have to roll initiative. Which
love that. I named some other ones: the Papa Don't Preach, the Sit and Spin. Those.
What's the sit and spin?
I have no idea. But that's what I'm going to call the alternate ones in the DM's guide.
Okay, the sit and spin is you just spin the bottle, but it's initiative order. So you just put a bottle in the middle.
Yes. You go.
Okay, now it's your turn.
That's actually great. And then you have to make out with your character.
No, your character has to make out with whoever.
Your character has to make out.
Strahd.
With Strahd.
Strahd appears.
That's not going to be a good makeout sesh for you.
Or
it's not going to end well.
Might be. You don't know.
Well, if you want to be a vampire, maybe.
If you want to be Okay, so letting your players know that it's their turn coming up. That's something is so hard for me to do.
You're on deck kind of thing.
You're on deck thing. I think that's pretty awesome. Rolling less dice, I think, is super awesome. It's very difficult to get going, but there is no reason why you can't roll. If you're a dice gremlin and you love rolling dice, which is a difficulty that we have expressed about DC 20 and Nimble, which I can't wait to try the new Nimble, but it didn't change that main rule where you only roll one set of dice, just one, not the 2 hit and the damage. But why can't you just take your D20, even with advantage, take 2, and then you know that your weapon is 3d6 plus 3, and then just if you hit, then yay, then you've got the d6s already ready to go. I think that could help a lot.
Poor Matt's been trying to get us to do that for a while.
I know. Well, I habitualized it a little bit better. In fact, I got frustrated with myself a couple of times last night when I forgot to do that because I was like, oh, I'm taking forever. So but that's a habit thing that you have to get into.
Yeah.
It's not a there's nothing reminding you to do it other than
no.
You just have to build that habit. But I like what Drew said.
Mm-hmm.
If you are playing virtually, having the initiative just on the screen.
Any visual. Yeah. An audible cue almost never works for me. So even and Rice is amazing at that by being like, Matt, you're on deck. Evan, you're in the hole. But still, I kept having to just think and think. Whereas if I could have just
what's on the hole? What does that mean?
After on deck.
Oh, okay. Is that another sports term?
Yeah. It's when you dig a hole on the baseball stadium and...
The dugout, the nappy dugout.
Yeah, you're in the dugout.
Is the dugout called the hole?
I don't know.
Maybe we're learning about sports together.
I think the Papa Don't Preach method would probably be the one where you roll initiative at the beginning of the game, and you just kind of have that ready to go. And it maybe is just for the next combat, or maybe it's a default. And so you can just say, instead of like, well, I guess we should roll initiative right now, you could just go into it because that is your role for the game. Let's call that Papa Don't Preach.
Can I yes and your number 3 a little bit?
Yeah.
It's more kind of an orange in the apple pile, but I did read something. I saw something that Brennan Lee Mulligan, just forgot his last name, does that I thought was kind of funny and fun, which is that in order to spice up gameplay for his players to keep it interesting for them, he will have his baddies insult them.
Yeah.
And it will also encourage them to attack that person every time because you piss them off. You're like, oh man, yeah, F you. And so it just gets them engaged on that person. So I thought that was just kind of a fun thing to do.
And I fall prey to that every time. And in fact, if Rice Combo hadn't talked a little bit too quick last night, I was about to spend a key point that I had no right spending to hit someone who insulted my character. It was my last key point, and if he hadn't kept talking through his sentence, I would have said, and I'm going to flurry the blows. Because that stuff right there gets your players, and I am very susceptible to it, it gets your players riled up and doing things that they don't plan on doing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you're trying to dismantle their plays.
Well, that's actually...
Spend some resources they weren't planning on spending, or focusing on something that they weren't going to focus on. If the player is supposed to be going to do, like, unlock this chest, and then suddenly the baddie's like calling them names.
That's actually my number
like
5.
Pineapple butt. They're going to go over there.
Yeah.
But pineapple's delicious. Never mind.
Not on your butt.
Okay, let's take it to pizza now.
You know how I feel about that.
Yeah, training each other to make snap decisions. Acting first, thinking later. And this really, it goes for DMs, GMs, and players just as much. Like, keeping me from dwelling about who should do what and what should do where. Just go. And I think that fits really well into what Brennan says as well. Just kind of make them more angry in general. Like more tauntful.
Wait.
Okay.
You want me to be more of an impulse gremlin than I already am?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think in the game of Dungeons and Dragons 5e, yes, I definitely do. Yeah, because it's so much fun. And these 3 players, not always, but I feel like I think Evan especially is very good at it sometimes. And sometimes Fitz will say things, especially that are just like, what? Just saying and doing. Like, and you, it's funny, AK, because I feel like you could think about things more than you do outside. You're less impulsive in some ways, which is very interesting and ironic.
The only drawback to that, though, because I caught myself doing this when we played Strahd this week, was I said something rather spicy to one of Matt's NPCs, and I actually felt bad.
You gave yourself RSD.
I made myself feel bad because I said something mean to Matt.
Interesting.
I should tell him I'm sorry, and then I was like, no, he doesn't.
He doesn't have feelings.
I have no feelings. I am a robot. Also, number 7, GMs do not have feelings.
Become a Cylon or a psychopath, whichever.
I will say, for as sensitive as I am, and as much as I struggle with RSD, I don't know that I have ever taken as a GM things players have said to me personally, which is nice. It's nice to wear that because much like what you just said about the impulse comment, like in game I'm able to like separate, because I've felt that way Fitz about like, oh my god, I need to go to like Matt or Evan or Fitz and apologize and make sure they know that was at their character and not them. I've never felt that's interesting. I've never once felt like I was being interesting.
I'm delighted because to me it feels like you're in character and that you're saying that I'm in character as well. That's a huge compliment.
Because it's what, I played a very mean character for a long time, and I just realized it's not for me, because even though sometimes it is cathartic to say some truly, truly mean girl things, it just makes me feel bad.
Sure. I'm just glad our friendship survived that God's Brawl intact, Fitz, because it was on a razor.
Wow.
You're the only one who feels spicy. Talk about combat causing problems.
Is this the fight where Fitz just destroyed you in like the first round?
Yes. Didn't have a chance.
Because
still hurts, huh?
Here's the thing. Going into that combat, it was PvP, so y'all, seriously, be real careful.
Yeah. Don't invite Fitz to PvP. She is feral, ruthless, brutal. Wow. Y'all think I'm competitive? She put me to shame.
Because, though, talk about combat not being a slog, where it's like the whole session was this PvP arena brawl, and it was a God's Brawl. And the thing going into it, though, is you didn't have to strategize with each other, because obviously it's PvP, but I went in with a firm strategy. The only person who had any armor against me was the guy who was playing my character's twin, but even if he had come to the end and it was getting close, he was like top 3 or top 4, I would have knocked his ass out. But and I am still a little spicy though about how I came in second place because of the barbarian having the fucking fair. Anyways, but like having tactics going into it, you gotta have tactics, and it's fun. And you just have to accept that I'm going to beat your face sometimes. Okay.
So hard. Ass whooping, like instant elimination on the ground with like a level 15 druid. Like, it's not like I was playing some little pansy. Like, Sora packed a punch, but did not stand a chance against your mean girl.
Hey man, you could have been randomly plopped on the other side of the map, and you could have killed me just as easy, but I rolled a better initiative and you were sitting right next to me. So but that's strategy. That is strategy going into a combat.
I mean that's
know your role.
I'm dying to know it. I've just got a couple more. I've got I've got along the rolling less dice thing. Almost every monster stat does have the average. Just go with the average. Don't roll dice for them. Again, this is a DM thing that is really great. And the good thing about that is that you have the average, so you know what the top score is, you know what the bottom score is, and it's the average, of course, is the middle. But if you want to turn the tide a little bit, you can just say instead of 6, it's going to be 8 points of damage this time. You could just, and that's not against the rules, and that's not cheating, and that's not doing anything weird.
You can adjust that. You don't have to.
You don't have to physically roll.
You don't always have to have the average. You can say, okay, this is the max. You can just decide
for sure.
This is the max damage they can do. I'm gonna on the fly decide this is a minor hit versus this is a major hit. Okay.
Yes. It's cheating if you go over that too much. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, Matt. What did you say?
Yeah. No. I was about to say the same thing. It's cheating if the average is 6 and then I say that they do 25 points of damage. Right. Cheating. But if they do 10, that means that that's a beefier commoner.
Mm-hmm. Whereas, and it comes back to, it's only cheating if you're doing it with malicious intent. If you're using it to dial up or down the combat challenge, then it's actively working to make the combat more exciting. More, what's the word? Spicy, whatever. Whatever word you want to use.
Engaging,
but, if you're feeling like the monster isn't hitting hard enough and isn't presenting as big of a challenge to the group as you would like, you really want them to feel like, oh crap, then hit them a little bit harder in that range of dice pool that they normally have.
Yeah.
So does this rule an idea here too about like you can roll a list and then just go through.
That's a really good one.
That way you do get to dice gremlin it.
Yeah.
But you're saving.
And here's the other thing that I do want to try. I think this could apply to PCs as well. I really do. Because there are going to be combats where you want to be engaged. And then there's going to be, I'm fighting a bunch of skeletons, right? Why? We don't need to spend a lot of time fighting a bunch of skeletons. So the PCs can find the average of their weapon as well, just as easily. You know, there's a formula for it. It's not hard to get. And so, sure, if you want to roll, fine. But as a DM, I would be delighted if someone said 6, 6, 6. If that's the average amount every time. And then when you fight Strahd, you want that chance, that swinginess, then go for it. But
okay.
It doesn't change the rule like a nimble does. It just exactly says 6, 6, 6. I got the beast. But I think why would it be different? I mean, it is literally a part of almost every monster stat in everything.
Dice fight.
Yeah, dice fights.
Well, but this is where, like, and what we've kind of started to do, I know that this is all framed around, like, Tales of the Valiant, which we've now said, like, hey, we'd be interested in adopting that in place of 5e. But at the end of the day, we're going to, like, homebrew the mess out of things, and we're going to borrow some of the best parts of a lot of these things that we enjoy. And this is where something like a DC 20 that has just a combat skill challenge to where you want the outcome of a combat, but you don't want the slog of it, to where you just kind of round robin it. Boom, Evan, what does your character do? Boom, Fitz, what does your character do? You make like a single skill roll and move on with your life. Like I would be, honestly, I'd rather do that because then at least there's the role playing fun of it than take average dice if you really want to know my
So that's a perfect segue to my very last option, which is just quit.
Yeah.
Bye.
I've mentioned this. Bye, everybody.
Should I roll the outro or?
I've already mentioned this a few times, but our friend Kai has this amazing ability to get to the edge of slog, where in about 3 or 4 rounds, you know who's going to win, the PCs or the monsters, right? You kind of get the idea. So there's a certain point where it could dive into slog if the monsters become hit point bags, and you don't want to do that. So Kai just says, let's just assume that you won. And I don't think you would be against the rules as written in any level, any kind of 5e to do this. I really don't think. I don't know that you even need explanation for it, but I think you could absolutely, if you wanted a mechanic, you could borrow it from DC 20 or something else, where it then says, okay, how do y'all do this? We're at that point. They're not gonna get back to this. I think that's great, and I think it's just you have to remember to do it, but I think it's great.
I think you also need to be a little careful doing it. I think it's really great if used appropriately. Particularly if you're in a situation where, you know, you're in a build up to a boss fight where you have like mini encounters going in just to like reduce your party resources and things like that. I think that is the perfect scenario in which to use something like that, whereas like, okay, very obviously given another round, you guys are going to obliterate these guys. Right. And your goal is 2 rooms that way.
Yes.
So how do you finish this up and let's move on? As long as there's something next.
Yes.
Where I could see that being something you might want to avoid,
the end of Strahd.
And try a different tactic is if you're in a like maybe a random encounter, like a rolled encounter or something like that, and there's nothing coming next, but a shopping section or something that might feel kind of like okay, we just started.
I'm hurrying to shopping. Yeah.
But I mean, just any sort of spontaneity, like think on your feet, whatever find what feels good.
Find what feels good.
Find what feels good.
Find what feels good.
Just go full yoga with Adrian on your combat.
I agree.
Yeah. I think those were all excellent points, brother.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. And it sounds like y'all are open to trying a number of them.
I would. I fully support AKs. I love the idea for like when you're fighting the Skeletors, either do a challenge or doing the more nimble method, and then save all of the swinginess for not necessarily the boss battles, but just the battles that really, really matter from a story perspective. It doesn't have to be a boss, but if it's a pivotal moment, you want to savor that a little bit.
Savor.
So
Savor the flavor. Yeah.
Savor the flavor
Uh,
of homegrown delights.
Since we've mentioned it a couple of times, Nimble 5e is a 5e compatible rule set that kind of, it used to be like a part of 5e. Now the creator has kind of deviated more of its own game from what I can see. But I
didn't realize that.
Yeah, a little bit more. It's still compatible in that I could pick up any monster book and any adventure, and very, very quickly. He doesn't change the stats so much. He just pulls out anything to make it a little bit more efficient. So the weapon damages are the same. He doesn't add those kinds of things. We're getting the beta of the core rules very soon. So I really want to see. Would anybody else out there in the world like to see us try Nimble? I'm definitely going to try it because I backed it. He hit all of his goals.
He raised a bunch of cash.
Really cool. He seems like a super cool guy.
Did you say 2 million?
No, 260,000.
Okay,
but he was only trying to get $5,000.
Wow.
He's a very efficient person. His name is Evan as well, and he already had the beta ready for us like immediately, which is
nice.
But I would love to try this new version. Like I said, I've been in the Discord server, and lots of people are just, it's a great community, and they're just like, well, but what if this happens? Because we tried version 1, and we found some holes in it that were a little tougher, and it's another game that players at least only roll one set of dice, just the weapons you assume to hit, and that wasn't really to y'all's liking, which I totally get, but it has some super duper clever twists and stuff from what I've already seen. So yeah, if anybody's interested, I would love to talk more about it and play.
I'll tell you what I still really want to do is kind of take, it would need to be different encounters, so we don't just, I don't want to Groundhog Day this, but I still would be very interested in taking the same characters and then applying them into several of these different systems, just to actually really get like an apples to apples comparison. So we build them in Daggerheart, we build them in Nimble, we build them in DC20, we build them in TOV, and just to see, and then, like same level, same, but you can mix up the monsters and things like that or the situations, the capers they find themselves in. I have long wanted to do that. And so in Nimble,
try that
is
with
fun.
DC20 and 5e.
We did. That was how our original DC20. Remember that Mutants of Rage killed them all.
Oh yeah.
One by one, they all fell.
Yeah, the multiverse. Yeah,
we'll have to be more organized about it if we're gonna do a multi-system, because trying to take a character that is fully baked in one system and port it to another system, that didn't really work.
Yes.
But if we came up with this is the general idea and flavor of this character, and put it in the different systems and go.
Exactly. And that was what kind of messes, because first of all, we did it just as a combat encounter, so there was no real context. Like, I want there to be a little bit more context to it. Yeah. But that was exactly it. Like, we had made them so specifically that we were trying to do like the exact same thing, and it's like, no, what is the flavor of a sorcerer? What is the flavor of and then like what's good about it? So if I didn't take Way of the Sun Soul, like what is the cool aspect of it in this system and things like that.
Now we could, though, what I would be very interested in is trying to do as direct a comparison between 5e and Tales of the Valiant, though. Play it at the same level. I think we're going to find, especially if we just do a combat encounter, I'm trying to tie in the topic with today as well. Yeah. I think that we're going to find that the same character, if you fully lean into 5e and you fully lean into Tales of the Valiant with those, the mechanics for each and everything, I think the combat with Tales of the Valiant, I think the character with the add-ons that you get there, the glow up you get there, is gonna be more fun.
I agree. I think that's the takeaway that for this week. Stuff. Yeah. I started off by saying I don't think it's gonna be faster, but I do agree with you. I think it's just a little sparklier.
Yeah, I think the takeaway is I don't know what's going to be faster. It might be a scotch slower, if anything, just because you do. Yeah. Although I don't know, maybe there's a balance, because it seems like the DM's turn might not take quite as long if the monster stat blocks are way more seamless. So maybe
That's true.
you make up for time each round there. But I think at least on the player side, it might take a little bit more each turn. But I think you're going to find that there's probably less slog.
Yeah.
Overall.
Mm-hmm. I think
you've got the luck. You got your feats.
I think you're right. For those of you who came to watch this, hoping for some kind of definitive answer, your friend Fitz gave it to you just now.
Yeah, I'm just, you know what? I'm going to say it. I haven't tested it, but I'm going to say it.
Let's test it.
Next week. The Pocket Dimension live.
And now I'm going to take Kai's comment out of context. Look, here's our GM.
Hey!
Yes.
And it's done.
You volunteer as tribute.
Oh, man.
Let's
Nog noggin and more fun buns. TPD way.
Sure. I love that. I want fun buns.
Wait, look at this. What do we have instead of slop my 5-star meal?
Slog.
Yes.
Slog. Wait, sorry, I misheard.
I like slop, my 5-star meal.
No, I'm celebrating slop. I want a sloppy 5-star meal. Thank you, Fox. Guys, there were so many ideas here. I don't even know how in the world we're going to summarize this. Maybe we don't
one
try.
bit at a time. Yeah, one.
Take it one step at a time.
Take it a step at a time.
One step at a time.
Yeah.
Can I ask if we can try something?
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to work, but ever since we've stopped, I mean, AK, you're still playing Daggerheart, but ever since we stopped playing Daggerheart, I have admittedly really been feeling not so great about initiative. Could we try an encounter that is truly feral and go completely initiativeless?
God, I would love that.
Interesting.
Now, obviously there'd have to be some ground rules because, you know, I think we learned at Castle Birthday 2.0 Electric Boogaloo that like action point systems and stuff like that didn't work. But what if we just say, I'm going to go now? Okay, thanks.
And the bad guy gets to go whenever they want to go?
Like
it's just a total free-for-all?
But like,
let's try it.
Try it?
Yeah,
sure.
If it's chaotic in a good way or a bad way?
Yes.
Is there a bad way?
No. What would you name that one though? The absentee landlord?
So I went out for cigarettes initiative.
You know what? One thing I really, really loved about Murkborg was that initiative system.
Yeah.
You go, I go. And it's just one roll. Roll a d6. What'd you get? You got higher, I got lower, you go first.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it went every round. I thought, and it was so fast. It was so fast. Would that be close enough?
Yeah.
So at least it delineated good guys versus bad guy?
Yeah. I would be totally down with that. Yeah.
I'd be down with that.
Okay.
I love
roll
that.
the round and see it. Oh, bad guy's going first, and then you guys can do your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
By the way, the chat is casting our various GMs for the various systems that we're going to roll similar characters through.
Oh, bring it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Yes. The fan casting for DMs.
Ship away.
Yeah.
Ship away at the stone.
Ship away, ship away, ship away.
Well, you guys, good work.
Good work, everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
If we're wrapping up,
yes,
I have one very important thing that we got to discuss.
Please do.
All right. Are we done talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I think we did it. Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Okay, guys. Look, Monday, episode 5 of The Adventures of Bud and Herb drops. It's the last scripted episode of the season.
What does that mean, Fitz?
It means that moving forward, it's almost like we've talked about this.
What?
It means that moving forward, the episodes are broken up pieces of an actual play that we did back in July.
You mean the game was totally improvised?
The game was totally improvised, and the dice tell the story. The whole goal
Holy
here
cow.
being that we want you to fall in love with our characters just for their fates to be held in the chance of the roll of a dice. I flubbed it.
TPK.
TPK.
That being said,
Yeah.
Evan and I, we're going to be sitting down to do, but nonetheless, yes, the joke being that scripted should be spelled as scripted.
Yeah.
Scripted.
Yeah.
Evan and I are going to be sitting down to do a fireside chat. Chat, not chat.
Chat.
We're going to do a fireside chat.
Please
That
don't.
was when Fitz shat the bed.
Please
It's okay because I have my magical diaper. We're going to be talking about the season so far and what's coming up next for Bud and Herb. And we're going to pull back the curtain a little bit. So
we're going to introduce you to some of the other folks.
we're going to introduce you to some people.
We're going to talk about how we made this crazy show a little bit.
We're going to do that. We got a lot of stuff. People have questions and we have answers. So, if you have a question, a comment, a concern, a conspiracy theory, any of the above, please feel free to fill out, I'm trying to put it in our chat, a form or leave a comment on the videos. Anybody in her video.
Or how about our incredible Discord?
We're in our incredible Discord.
Which is easy to get to.
So fun and
Here we go. Here's the Google form. Hopefully that works. If you want to put it there anonymously. Otherwise, you can leave your thoughts, hopes, dreams.
In the Bud and Herb channel.
Can we put this form in the Discord as well? For folks who are in the Discord? And if you're not, get in there.
In the Discord, in the Bud and Herb channel, we have a current thread going that has both the link to the form and you can also just plop things there.
Great. Amazing. And folks out there, I'll just add, it's not too late if you haven't already to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts. If you're not a subscriber of this YouTube channel for any reason, you can do that here too. That helps. All of these things, or wherever you get your podcasts, go like it, leave a review, all of those things that help so much. And while you're there, why don't you do that for ADHD 20 as well?
I was just going to say, while you're thinking of all those lovely questions that you want Evan and I to answer, listen to the new episode of ADHD 20.
Sure. Hell yes.
Stop futzing around and go
Stop
listen to all our shows.
Yeah.
Stop futzing around and put that slop in the Discord.
These things really, really, really do matter. And of course, if you haven't already, share all of this with your family, your friends, your enemies. It makes a big, big difference. And buckle up, patrons of the Patreons above Feywild and above. You're gonna get some Bud and Herb today. All right.
Yeah. So if you want it now,
I'd love Bud to be a guest on ADHD 20. We do need to do a little fireside chat with Bud.
Sure.
Okay.
Does Bud? Could you diagnose Bud? Does he have ADHD?
Slop.
We're not qualified.
You're not.
You're not qualified to diagnose a fantasy character.
But that doesn't mean that we won't. It's how I was going to end that
sentence. To be perfectly honest, Bud would not be my choice. It would not be Bud. Therefore, it would be someone else.
The MyCom girl.
The MyCom girl.
Sorry, Jax is just so obsessed with her that she's on my mind now too.
I know. We got MyCom lady's got to come back in season 2.
Oh yeah. Big bad. Big bad.
Yep.
I think Drew's right. Bud has a paranoia disorder.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not some sort of paranoia. It's just paranoia.
And on that note.
It'll destroy you. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, this is super fun. Thanks for talking combat with us and TOV with us and all kinds of things. And of course, we'll be here next week, same time, same channel.
Yep.
We will. Are we going away now? Goodbye, everybody.
Yes. Have a wonderful weekend.